Greetings, greetings, greetings. You are now tuned into the vault. Trust Christian own, nothing control everything. Just want to thank you for tuning in live, listening to replay. Always appreciate everybody that tunes in live, listens in the replay. This is the vault. Marriage Trust Contracts, episode 718. Really excited for this particular episode. Really excited to do this one. This has been something that has come up a lot recently, and just really want to have that conversation with people and kind of go through a few different things that we've encountered at the vault, and basically, the people that we encounter in general. So, generally speaking, we appreciate everybody that tunes in live, listen, replay, first of all, and then generally speaking, when people talk about this subject of the marriage trust contract, a lot of people will reach out and say, "Oh yeah, I don't want to be married under the state or X, Y, and Z." And so, what you have is you have a situation here that you're either going to be under the state continuously through volunteer contracts, which is public, or you're going to remain private and have a private trust contract, a private marriage contract. So, does it have to stay private? No, but at the end of the day, there is some type of documentation that states that you're married to this individual. It's supposed to be a separation of church and state, but somehow the state's in control of your marriage. Huh? And how? Because it's public. The state is the public. Once you have volunteered to utilize the state for proceedings, then that's the way it's gonna happen. But if you say, I want to do this privately and amicably, that's what happens. Because you volunteer to work with the state. Bottom line, you volunteer to work with the state. You volunteer. And so the way you get around working with the public and volunteering is you stop volunteering information and keep things private. And that's where people will have to find different resources and a different thought process. So when they talk about a marriage contract, a marriage trust contract, once again, public means with the state. Pretty much when people go get married, don't they have a contract that they're marrying? Yeah, that's what a trust is. A trust is a contract. So they get married with a contract. And it involves a state. It's the same thing with, it's a different thing when you're talking about private trust though. Why? Because it's a private contract. It's like the one with the public is with the state. The one without it is private. So when we're sitting in these environments and we're saying, hey, and first of all, this isn't legal advice, financial advice. That's in the podcast description. So once again, you think about that, ladies and gentlemen. Are you putting yourself in the right positions with these contracts? We got a bunch of trustees that are gone through divorces, go through divorces on the public side. Usually it's not as easy as it sounds, but usually what happens is the trustees that are savvy, put their assets in trust, they end up not having to pay anything. They end up having to pay minimal, or they have minimal liability. Why? Because they don't have anything in their name. They just don't look like they have anything in their name. And why would you do that? You're talking about being a private trustee. And the thing about it is, it's interesting to see how many people go through divorces. So whether people are getting married for the wrong reasons or not, you think about that. If you're a trustee, you know that it's a business. And in turn, it's not just about how you feel about a situation, it's about how you manage a situation. Because there is management in a relationship, in a business relationship in specific, and even in working in business, there's relationships involved. Where does the marriage trust contract come into play? Well, the marriage trust contract comes into play because if you have a private contract that's in place, then you have less public interference on how the situation is going to break apart if you decide to leave each other. How the assets are going to be divided if you leave each other. So in the public, they promote prenups. Oh, you get a prenup. It's like some Some very colloquial information in here. Okay. Oh, have you heard of postnut? Have you heard of these things? Because there's more than one thing. But when you talk about without the state, it's just one thing. It's a private marriage contract. Without the state, sure, you have public record that you all are married. Yeah, people think they see elite and wealthy people get married the way they get married. Oh yeah, I filed the documents with the state. How do you know wealthy people are filing any documents with the state? How do you know they're just not married at a ceremony and they are publicly claimed as married? Oh, I didn't know you could do that. That's illegal. How you could do that? Where did it say they couldn't? Where does it say you can't do that? It's a private marriage contract. Where does it say you can't do that? But oh no, Trust Christian, I didn't know that. Okay, now you know. Now you know that you can protect yourself, whether it's both parties or just one. How would you know how to have that contract in place if no one told you to do that? No one trained you to do it. No family member, no friend, no one in your social circle say, yeah, you could do it without the state. I gotta get the state to acknowledge me. Acknowledge what? A power of attorney for your significant other or your whoever you want, a power of attorney for whoever you want to come in the hospital, the power of attorney to take care of your matters when a estate's over. Who's your successor trustee? Is it a significant other? Is it a family member? Another? Oh, is it your children? Some people say, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna make my children the beneficiaries." Yeah, so you can make them liable. It's not about making the children liable. It's not about making the children liable. It's just that simple. And you want to make it a point to put them in a position where they're not liable. So if you make it a point to put them in that position, then they would be more along the lines of a successor. People get on the line, they keep forgetting it. Oh yeah, they say my trust. Why? Because they still living in the public. They say, oh, it's my beneficiary. Or I'm the beneficiary because it's their stuff. They haven't let go of ownership. They haven't let go of ownership. And when you let go of ownership, you can get a different type of result. Because how can you own something anyways? You didn't even create it. What did you create? And then think about it. The state dang near tells you you don't own your kids. They have control. They can come in and take your kids from you. Because they got the big bad bully power. How is somebody going to take your private property? Because it hasn't been properly claimed. Oh, let's talk about it. Has it been properly claimed privately, or has it been for the public record? Oh yeah, my child, or I have a birth certificate. Yeah, that's a public document. We can have these conversations at the vault. We're not shy about having these conversations at the vault. Just like a politician would tell you straight to your face that y'all live in a democracy or people live in a democracy, it's the same exact thing. We're very aware of the government that's in place, whether it's de facto or not. We are very aware of the system that's in place, and it's either with the state or without it. Do you need aid and assistance from the state, or are you without it? What's the state need to withhold anything from you for? What do they need to withhold anything from you for? It's just interesting, so many of our mentors, and the well-off mentors, they always feel like there are no problems. You just got a bunch of solutions for everything. And when we talk about this right here, this is the same exact thing. They weren't just giving the information, oh yeah, you should get a prenup. They went deeper than that. The mentors say, yeah, we're going to do a private marriage trust contract. And they have an agreement. And that's the thing is, how many people have honor? How many people have integrity? How many people can stand on business? Ain't that what they say? You gotta stand on business nowadays. Can you stand on business? Most people not able to stand on business. A lot of them, why? Because they got employee mindset. They could quit. They could put their 2 weeks in. They could file for a divorce and not be serious. How you gonna file for a divorce and then take off the divorce and then get it going again? Y'all don't even want to hear these games that people out here playing. They filed for a divorce, but they didn't really go through with it. But then, what are you doing? That clearly shows your integrity. You don't even want to be here, or you're shaky about being here, which shows a level of doubt. The private marriage contract, the private trust, or the marriage trust contract is simply going to state what you want it to state. You could amend it and update it too as y'all move through the relationship. Hey, you know what? From this point forward, XYZ, XYZ. How many people got a marriage trust contract in place? Or do they have a marriage certificate? You're the beneficiary. So now, who's the trustee and who's the beneficiary? Isn't it a contract? Isn't it a grantor involved in the contract? Who granted y'all the power to get married? Uh, who granted you the power to get married? Was it the state? Or was it your inner being? Your divine source? And if you have a divine source on the inside, then you know how to set up contracts on the inside. But we're gonna go ahead and keep breaking it down because this episode gonna get a little spiritual form. Because a lot of people, they're not in tune with themselves. They ain't captured in what people call the matrix, the system. That's just bottom line. Trust Christian, definitely not. How? Because you, first of all, we know where it comes from. It comes from you. You're the source. If you want to make more money, how you think you're gonna make more money? You gotta think about it. You gotta visualize it. You gotta see it happening. You gotta see yourself making more money. That's how you make more money. You want to see yourself healthy? You gotta see yourself healthier. You gotta visualize it, sure. See yourself doing that thing. But how many people see themselves? Oh man, a lot of people say, "Oh yeah, I see myself without the state." But all right, did you go touch it? Did you go feel it? Are you feeling and touching the dream coming true every single day in every single way? Or is it just, oh man, trust Christian, man, I didn't have time to go look at no new houses. I didn't have to go time to go do this. I didn't have time to go look for a new car, even though I know I need one, let alone want one. So it's the marriage trust contract. Are we visualizing what we want the marriage to look like in 5 years, 10 years? We set goals like we set it in trust. We got to set goals. We got to set milestones, if you want to call them that. But that's where we at. No one's going to be able to ask us what's our goals and we don't have our goals clearly defined. This is something you could put together on your own. This ain't legal advice, financial advice. Something you can do on your own. Why would you need the state to verify you and solidify you and certify you? Because you don't have the confidence to live without the state. You have to have the confidence to live without the state. Now, we're not promoting anything against the system or otherwise, but at the end of the day, there are private marriage trust contracts and there are public marriage trust contracts. Which one did you choose? Once you see which one you chose, you can make an informed decision. Appreciate everybody for tuning in live, listen, replay. Always appreciate everybody that tunes in live, listens in a replay. Feel free to reach out to the Vault Christian at trustchristian.com for a consultation. Christian at trustchristian.com. Possibly, definitely go over how to create that template for your family and yourself. Thank you for tuning in live, listen, replay. Peace and joy.